Hey guys, Fates here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to the very first video on my YouTube channel. We'll be talking about the mysterious devil fruit that the Gorosei mentioned in One Piece chapter 1037 and what awakening that devil fruit might have that has scared the Gorosei so much. So the devil fruit that I believe they are talking about is Luffy's Gomu Gomu fruit. And there's a few facts that could kind of back this up. And I'm going to go through them one by one. And then we're going to be talking about the awakening and what other abilities the awakening might give to Luffy. So, one of the facts is that the world government wanted to acquire this devil fruit for themselves. They used Cypher Pole Agent to get it, they used Who's Who. That's how we know. And we also know that when Who's Who failed to get it and Shanks stole it from them, Who's Who was punished. We know that they also wanted the Ope Ope fruit that Law has, but when Vice Admiral Suru failed to get that fruit, as far as we know, she wasn't punished. So that means that the Gomu Gomu fruit's uh, importance to the world government was a lot higher than Ope Ope fruit, which could give one person immortality if the user was willing to use the immortality surgery on any members of the world government. So why is Luffy's rubber fruit more important? And that brings us to the devil fruit that they had tried to wipe from history by changing its name and making people believe it's a different fruit. In volume 40 of One Piece, what they talk about when they mention a person who eats a second devil fruit is that his body would fracture until there's nothing left of it. So the one one of the few things that we know cannot be fractured is rubber. Luffy's body cannot break. So if you go by that logic, the only thing that's left that could break is Luffy's mind. So what if the Gomu Gomu Fruit's awakening would also make Luffy's mind robbery, or as they would have changed the name, would make him fractureless or fracture proof or shatter proof. So what if it would make Luffy's mind stronger to the point where extreme emotions would not hurt him? So if you go by that logic and his mind is now also protected from being crushed or shattered or fractured, then that would make Luffy fracture proof, fractureless, shatter proof human. And if that's the case, then why would they still be so afraid of a fruit like this? Because I feel like this fruit gives Luffy or its user the chance to eat a second devil fruit. And that's another one of the points I wanted to bring up is that every time something huge has happened in the world of One Piece, ever since we have been following the world of One Piece from chapter, some of the huge, bigger events have had reactions from the Gorosei. But we didn't get a reaction from the Gorosei when Blackbeard stole Whitebeard's ability, considering he himself already had the Darkness fruit. So why is it that the Five Elders didn't react to it, didn't come up with a plan against him, as we've seen do with almost every other major event? And the answer is simple. The Gorosei already knew that some extremely special circumstances, a person can have a second devil fruit. And if you go by that logic, then it would make sense as to why they didn't react to Blackbeard getting Whitebeard's fruit, why they didn't react or be shocked about it, why they would want to change their rubber fruit's name if it is a fruit that's awakening allows a person to acquire second fruit. And I'm going to go a step further here and say maybe even acquire a third devil fruit and a fourth and a fifth and just keep going. You have to think about this in a way that in a fight, right now, Luffy's fighting Kaido. If Luffy had the second devil fruit, and while he's fighting Kaido, while he's throwing a punch with his rubber fruit, what if he were to then change and use the second devil fruit to hit a person? A person would be getting ready to counteract a punch coming at him. and then the punch turns into, let's say, if Luffy had eaten the flare fruit, which we already know he's not going to, but what if he had? What if he had awakened it earlier and he had ate that? Then Luffy could mid-fight change into his Logia fruit and keep fighting. And it's not that it makes huge difference, but the fact that person could just switch between abilities would be insanely strong. We already know that Marco cannot be hurt. So what if we were to gain a devil fruit, like the Phoenix devil fruit? Again, mid-fight, he could heal himself using the Phoenix, transform into the Phoenix one time, real quick, one time, heal yourself, and now you're back again. You're fighting again. Normally, you're back to full HP. And we've seen the healing from Marco does drain a lot on stamina, but we've seen Luffy has a lot of stamina when it comes to fighting. I even dare say he probably has more than. So if you put all of those together, it kind of makes sense as to why the world government would want to hide a fruit that would allow a person to have a second devil fruit, or a third, and a fourth, and as to why they would change the name. Because if fracture is the actual word, that's the word used in the official volume on volume 40, but if fracture is the actual word used in the world of One Piece as to what happens to a person in the scientific word of it, then any person would be able to tell if it's a shatterproof fruit or if it's a fracture-proof fruit. Then any person would be able to logically tell, if I eat this fruit, then there's a chance I might be second devil fruit. And that's probably how Blackbeard is doing it, because darkness has the ability to swallow things and isolate them. So probably somewhere within the darkness that Blackbeard has in his body, he has got the Whitebeard's devil fruit power stored, keeping it separate from any other thing that could cause damage to Blackbeard's own body. And let's take a step further here, because when Ace hit Blackbeard, Ace was under the assumption that darkness fruit, it sounds like light fruit, the opposite of it. So if light fruit is Logia, then logically darkness should also be a Logia fruit. But then we've seen he doesn't have Logia ability. So the devil fruit in question, the mysterious devil fruit, if it is going to be Luffy's, I believe it would make Luffy a shatterproof or a fracture-proof human, which in turn the awakening should allow him to second or maybe even a third. And I believe that is where, and that's where I'm going to leave this video at. This is my very first One Piece video. I am going to be doing a lot more One Piece videos, content coming going forward. That is the whole reason I started this channel. I had a theory. I haven't really seen many other people mention any theory like mine. I have read a ton of theories about the mysterious devil fruit and who it might be. I'm gonna have run down through a few of them right now, right here. I've read where it was. They said it would be Luffy's Gomu Gomu fruit, where it could make people giants or make them smaller. I've even read one on a forum somewhere. I can't even remember where it was, but it mentioned about what if, same as how Doflamingo can turn surrounding into strength. What if Luffy can make everything around himself softer? So even if something is clad in haki, as long as the base of it is soft, shouldn't damage Luffy, which then would mean Luffy would be the only person who'd be able to harden himself and hurt his opponents. That is one of my favorite ones that I've read so far of anybody else. I've read also some that was about Tama. I honestly don't feel like it would be Tama, because the way we've seen it is Tama's fruit is strong, it's very strong, but it's only works on animals. If the awakening works on humans, then maybe. But overall, Tama is too young. He probably hasn't even learned to fully utilize her devil fruit yet. So to awaken it, I really can't see it happening. And they did mention that the devil fruit in question hasn't awakened for a few hundred years. And if you take that into into consideration, by the fact that if a normal human, civilian, everybody's normal human, what I was meant to say, if it's a civilian who eats the devil fruit, then the civilian's not going to be participating in any kind of fight where he's pushed limit. So the devil fruit wouldn't awaken. And overall, I feel like that is it. But if it's eaten by a pirate trying to, or by a marine who's constantly fighting enemies and needs to get stronger, then there's a chance of it awakening. I am gonna go a step further here and mention if it is Luffy's Gomu Gomu fruit, that would make a person, by its awakening, it would give the user the ability eat a second or a third or even fourth or even more devil fruits. Then it would make sense as to why the world government wanted it so bad. And I'm going to go a step further here again and say that they probably didn't want to give it to their own members. Because you got to think about this. If a person, one of their own members, if they go through all of this trouble to get this devil fruit, and then they just give it to one of their own people to eat it, they have this devil fruit for one lifetime. But if they don't eat it and they really want to prevent anybody from having it, then there's a chance that they would have put that devil fruit, the Gomu Gomu fruit, into the same vault that Im-sama had the frozen straw hat. Go by that, then everything starts to fall into place. And I'm gonna leave that there. This is my very first video. I do feel like I may have repeated a few points a few times. Please, if you liked this video, leave a comment. I'm not gonna ask for a like and a subscribe. That, I feel like, personally, to me, I don't like it when a content creator asks for that. Personally, I feel like if a person likes your content, they will come again. And after they come for 3 or 4 videos, they're like, you know what? This is a good content creator. I want to watch more of him. I want to watch him regularly. And they subscribe. So if you like this video, please leave a comment. Tell me what you think about my theory. And again, also give me any input you might have on this theory, because you don't always have to be the person to come up with a theory. Sometimes you just hear a theory and you're like, oh, I remember something that happened, for example, in this chapter that might help. Do drop a comment. I enjoy reading comments from you guys. It's first video, I know, but I also do still enjoy reading comment on other people's videos. So I hope I see you guys around. Have a good day.